So, in kind of the intake form, RJ mentioned this earlier. I want to hit on it. I was just reading some articles about the vintage is coming back, and it's because guys our age are looking back to the youth. We've already touched on it, but I want to get your thoughts on who those cards are, who the big cards are going to be to have. What are your thoughts there?
Well, let's define because vintage can mean a couple things for
Good point.
us.
So
So,
let's go with 70s, 80s.
okay,
God, does that hurt to say?
I know because I'm looking at where I feel vintage from my perspective is I'm on that cusp, right? We're in, I'm in my early-ish 50s, if you will. But when I think vintage, I think Mantle, Mays,
Okay,
Aaron,
fair enough. Yeah.
Takeda, 50s and 60s baseball, which I've invested heavily and I think have the long-term run. What I think the cycle happens for us next is the 70s and 80s, which is our era for our children or the next generation, where mantles and mays will continually increase. But look at what the 20s, 30s, and 40s. There's only one, two, three players that are known well enough as our population gets older and dies off. Honus, Babe Ruth, there's only a handful of those guys. All the rest of it, nobody really pays much attention to from a value or collectible standpoint. So there's a life cycle in our collecting. And I think our 70s and 80s, our Nolan Ryans, our Rickey Hendersons, Bo Jackson,